Hi, everyone. It's Samantha Tennant, and welcome to another Fresh Fiction Video Book Club. Tonight, our guest author is the amazing Charlaine Harris, number one New York Times bestseller, USA Today bestselling author, part of so many different professional writing organizations, multiple series, who is as pleasant when I see her in person and as gracious when she signs all of my multiple books that I bring to her for signing. Charlaine, it is so good to see you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here
Well, and especially right now because you are fresh on off the heels of going to DragonCon and BoucherCon, two conferences in a row.
too. Yeah, it was kind of an ordeal. Uh, and I really hate to share this, but it when we were in New Orleans, my friend that travels with me and I got food poisoning. So
Oh no.
it just BoucherCon did not end well for us, but we were having a great time up until then. And of course, Dragon Con is just, huge and hard to navigate, really. But I enjoy the enthusiasm I find there. And it's fun meeting readers and writers who are on very different tracks than the ones I normally follow.
Well, and that was one of the things I wanted to ask you since you've just attended those cons. These are things that are open to both readers and writers. And like you said, I've met people there who are just starting out on their writing career, and then readers who have no interest in writing. They just want to go meet their favorite authors for all these books. But then also other very experienced, long-time writers. What is it that
Yes.
you're gaining from that multitude of different types of people there? What's the best thing for
Well,
you at these?
seeing old friends because this is my, I don't know, 45th year as a published writer, something like that. So I've been around a long time and I know a lot of people, and seeing them again and hearing them speak and finding out what their experiences are still just very exciting to me. Also, I like to meet new writers because I like to find out what's coming up and what writing is like for them. Publishing changes so quickly that it's really hard to keep track of how much it's changed since I started out. And the readers, well, without the readers, I wouldn't be anywhere. So that is always a pleasure.
What has been your craziest encounter at one of these cons?
Oh my gosh, that's kind of hard to pick out. Um, well, there was a lady who was obviously had had quite a few drinks, and she said, and she was heavily Southern, more so than I. She said, I just love all those penises in your books. And I was just going, I really have no idea how to respond to that. I just said, oh, thank you. I mean, what do you say? That was just so weird. And the woman who asked me to sign her giant tattoo of Alexander Skarsgård
Wow.
all over, it was like this part of her body. And I thought, honey, in a few years, that's going to look completely different.
Yeah, okay, now those are definitely out there, a bit strange.
Yes. Yes, for me. Yeah.
But I think that's also one of the telling points of the different types of novels that you've written because they cover a wide gamut. I mean,
Yes.
from everything with the Aurora Tea Gardens and the Lily Bard, which are more straight mysteries, almost
Yes.
cozy mysteries in a way. I don't know if they quite classify as cozies, but classic mysteries. And then you
Yes.
have the urban fantasies slash paranormal. And then I never quite knew how to classify the Midnight Texas series because there's so many paranormal elements there, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
seemed more, and then of course with the alternate history with the Gunnie Rose. I mean, what is your driving force when you're getting into of these series?
I'm easily bored and
Mm.
I have to entertain myself by changing up what I'm writing. Uh, I wish that I could write in the same genre all the time. Think of all the books I would have in it by now. But I just can't do that. I have to switch around and do what I feel at the time I'm called to do. And luckily, so far, it's all been published. The book that I just turned in is completely different from anything else that I've written. So, yay.
Yeah, we're going to come back to the one that you just turned in because I definitely want to hear some teasers about that. But I have also heard, and I know that you don't really do outlines and you're not exactly a plotter. And right, everything is kind of like as you're going through. So is it a movie that you see in your head? Are you developing and seeing the characters, or do you have a sense of the action as you're going from scene to scene?
I just, hmm, this just always sounds so disorganized, and indeed it is. But I just type page 1, chapter 1. What's going to happen? I don't know. Let's see. And I start in writing. Now, sometimes I have to rewrite a lot. In fact, always I have to rewrite a lot. But I generally know the direction of the story and where I will want to be at the end. So I know what I'm working towards, but I can take instant inspiration and see where it goes. Sometimes it doesn't work out and sometimes it does. I've tried writing with an outline. To me, it was like paint by numbers. I just was not interested. And I have to be creatively engaged when I write.
Well, to have a general idea of where the story goes, is that just for the individual book? Or how does that then play into when you have a longer series, which has overarching storylines?
I never know at the beginning how many books I'm going to write.
Hmm.
For example, I was very surprised that Dead Until Dark got published. It was going around for 2 years before someone picked it up. And I think now it's in its like 39th printing. So, yay. But I had no idea there was going to be a second one until the
Hmm.
first one started making some good money. And then they were suddenly interested in signing me.
Hmm.
Now, the book I just wrote, I know there are going to be at least 2 books. So that leaves me with some stretching room. With Gunnie Rose, I knew there would be several books, but not exactly how many. So I was always having to kind of save some things back in case I needed them for another book until I realized I was, in fact, well, my publisher told me I was writing the last book. We don't always get to pick. He said, "And what are you doing next?" I thought, okay, I got that. But when I was writing the last Gunnie Rose, I thought, okay, this is it. This is the last one. So I'm going to have to pull everything together and give her an ending that I find satisfying.
Hmm. Well, and with some of these series where it is, even though Gunny Rose is definitely an alternate history, I mean,
Yeah.
you've also created these other worlds, like with Sookie Stackhouse and with Midnight Texas. What level of additional freedom do you find in that world building element and specific things that you're trying to pull out and say, oh, this is, since it's my world, I can do it this way?
Well, there is a great pleasure in creating a new world. With Sookie, when I started trying to imagine the world she was living and moving in, I had to imagine a world that was going to support her difference
Hmm.
because she, of course, has a big disability. And I had to imagine how that affected her and create that world around her to where she would do something insanely stupid like date a vampire, when clearly that is not a healthy thing to be doing. But the whole world just kind of grew from that little mustard seed of the fact that she could read minds. So I know one thing, one for sure thing about the protagonist when I start, and then she expands and the world expands with her.
Well, and from previous conversations that we've had, I know that for many of the books and series that have gone to television, you've kind of been like, hey, they were your creations, you have handed them off,
Yeah.
and it's like go forth and kind of do what. you need to do. And those series have, I'll say, migrated perhaps from the original text in some ways.
Yes.
But
Yes.
with that, I want to talk just about the longevity and your feelings of the characters in those worlds themselves. I mean, so many of us are familiar with the Sookie Stackhouse and how it went to True Blood. But I have to admit, recently, the Aurora Tea Garden has also been on my mind. I admit this was my watching on TV last night
Uh-huh.
because I came across one of the shows on the Hallmark Mystery, and all of those had gone to film with Candace Cameron Bure, but then they went back and did
Yeah.
prequels with a new actress.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, this was really your first series that got
It
published.
was. No, True Blood was my first series, and
Ah, okay.
then I think Midnight Texas. No, Midnight Texas was third, and then the Aurora Tea Garden books
Mhm.
were the second.
But the books themselves were published first, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I misunderstood. Yes, that was my first series. I had two standalones and then the Aurora Tea Garden books.
So what's it like having your characters and the worlds that you've created with all the different adaptations still fresh for new readers and fans to come across after all of these years?
Well, it keeps my books in print. Uh, and that delights me. And all of them have the freeze frame uh, on the credits that say from the books by Charlaine Harris.
Mhm,
That's my good out of it. I
mhm.
don't control what they write. I don't control what actors they hire. That is not my business. I'm not in the movie business. So I'm just happy that the books sell better because of the TV shows.
And that is definitely the important aspect. And as they come in,
Yep.
even if they are first introduced through the Hollywood versions, then coming and delving into your own world and details, and in a way, the the true, I don't know if I would say the alternate, because that tends to be the theme, but seeing how the different series have played out. That's one of the things I also enjoyed. It's like, oh, hey, here's a different version when I was watching the shows. It's like,
Yeah.
this is different. Okay, I can go with it.
Yeah. I had to go through a lot of that, but truly it was so exciting to see a process that I'd never imagined and to meet people I would never have gotten to meet and have experiences I would never have gotten to have if I hadn't had the adaptations. I enjoyed that quite a bit because it was totally unexpected. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a girl from Tunica, Mississippi. I never expected any of this to happen.
Well, and you've talked also about there's a lot of things with that which works well on the page, but does not necessarily
Right.
translate well to on the screen. How did that difference come into play when you were doing graphic novels? Because you did that with the Cemetery Girl stories,
I
right?
did. I co-wrote those with Christopher Golden because he was really well adapted to write a graphic novel, and I was not. But he's been a buddy of mine for a while, and we had a real good time doing it. Uh, and that was the most difficult learning process I've ever gone through because you can't write motion. The person who is drawing the pictures will do the motion. You have to write the dialogue and only the dialogue or only the scene. You can say this is set in the cemetery crypt or this is set in a boarding house. But it's so hard to realize you only write the dialogue
Mm-hmm.
and the artist has to carry the rest of it. So that was that was really hard, but I like to challenge myself. So eventually I was able to do it.
So did you find that affected your actual storytelling in a way of, okay, since I can't describe this with words on the page and he's going to have to figure out a way to draw it, maybe this scene needs to be changed up? Because I remember talking with Deborah Harkness once where it was this beautiful scene in one of her books where it's this crazy yoga scene and everybody's floating in the air. She's like, it was great on the page, but there was no way they'd ever be able to do that actually on film without an amazing amount of CGI.
Yeah.
So was that something you had to kind of adapt or change, or it's like, oh no, that's not going to work because we can't put it on the page?
I had to think very carefully about the dialogue I gave my characters because he was there's going to have to be something that moves them from one place to another. And I have to indicate that and the change in location. And maybe they're in a car now suddenly. And so that's going to change. So it just took a lot of planning.
Mhm. Well, going back to the Gunny Rose series, since The Last Wizard's Ball is the last book in this series, and granted, I know that you wrote it a while back because it takes a while for everything to get released to us readers. What were your feelings when you were pulling that story and having it come to this culmination?
Honestly, I'd been having kind of a rough time, as people in their 70s sometimes do, with lots of different surgeries. And honestly, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull that book out. But the closer I got to the end, my mind started clearing up from the anesthesia and all that. And all of a sudden I thought, oh, I know how it's going to end. And it was just like one of the happiest moments of my life because it didn't depend on my protagonist. It depended on her sister. That was the one who was going to end the book in such a dramatic way. And once I realized that, it was easy to write.
Well, that was the thing, bringing all this together because you had this the story with Elizabeth and Eli, and then bringing Felicia in, like you said, where it really ends with her. But then you're also bringing, even though this is an alternate American history, and you're bringing in a larger worldwide view also with the Germans and the Japanese. I mean, were these elements that you're like, okay, here's my chance to pull all of these additional points in and put a nice big bow on it?
It was just, I was really slow with the first part of the book. But then when I could see the end coming, I knew that there was going to be a huge dramatic ending. And I was so excited to write that once I realized it was going to be Felicia who triggered the cataclysm at the end.
Okay, without giving us too many spoilers, what can you share with us for this new project that you're working on?
Well, the working title is Hanelin, and it is not really time travel. It's about twins, okay? And I know twins have been done, but it's about a woman who's believed she was the twin of a guy her whole life, and she finds out he's not her twin. She meets her true twin, and it everything just ensues from that. Is honestly, I had the best time writing it. I really did.
Well, what's that like when you're kicking off a brand new series? And is it a okay, so it's time travel-ish. I mean, so what kind of genre then? And does it switch
I really
genres
couldn't
or
tell you. It's it's I guess I don't know. It's an adventure. It's got romance. It's got a lot of fighting. The usual good stuff.
well, does the genre even make a difference to you then? Or is it just this is the story that I want to tell and here are the different aspects?
No, the genre doesn't really make that much difference to me because I figure whatever I write that's the book I'm going to write.
Hmm.
And so far, I've been fortunate that my publisher has agreed with me. So far, anyway. Though I've had a lot of different publishers, I've kind of slept around in the publishing industry, uh, as most writers do. I mean, if you get to stay with one house your whole career, you are a very lucky person.
Well, do you find that you have to like get into the right mood when you're kicking off a new series?
No, I mean,
No.
I'm a professional. You can't
Hmm.
wait till you're in the mood to go to work. You have to
It's
go
like get
work.
your butt in the seat
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just get it
You have to
out, huh?
sit down and start working and see what happens, just like with any other job. And I always try to turn the book in on time. Mostly I do. I mean, this book I turned in like 24 hours early. Yes, so proud of myself.
Well, early and like you said, there's been a lot of challenges in trying to meet the due dates and just where the rest of life comes
Yeah,
into play.
yeah. Real life can interrupt the most professional writer.
Hmm. Well, Charlene, I want to switch over to what we call our fresh fiction facts.
Okay.
These are a series of hopefully quick type questions to kind of get to know the different quirks of Charlaine Harris.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start off with a kind of easy one. Who would you most want to be stuck in an elevator with?
Okay. Probably my friend Paula, who travels with me because I cannot surprise her. I mean, she knows me inside and outside. She knows where all the bodies are buried. And she is just so calming and soothing. And she knows where I'm supposed to be and she makes sure I get there. So definitely Paula. I
Well,
know
as
they're
the
trying to
solver of
grade
all
against her.
problems, she'd get you out of there too, right?
She would. She would call the firefighters and make them hoist me out first. God bless her.
If you knew that they were real, would you rather encounter a ghost or a vampire?
Oh, a ghost. My goodness. Vampires are dangerous. Um, I would I would rather encounter a ghost. I have to say I'm not 100% sure I've ever seen a ghost. I don't disbelieve though. I have met many people who told me they were vampires and also people who told me they were werewolves, but I did not see the proof of that.
Okay. What is your writing fuel? When you are deep in the cave, what is it that's keeping you going?
Well, I don't get paid unless I work. That's pretty powerful. Uh, that's my drive. That's my engine. That's who I am. It's like a nurse seeing a person they know how to help. This is what I know how to do, and I am so happy when I'm doing it. It just it's an incredible rush.
A fun one. What is your go-to gas station snack when you're on a road trip?
Cheez-Its.
Ooh. See, I don't even have to be on a road trip for Cheez-Its.
You know, I don't either really, but that just I always say Cheez-Its because I love Cheez-Its. I can't help it. I like snack mix too. Gardetto's
Mhm.
snack mix. Yum, yum, yum.
Other than books, what is something that you own an absurd amount of?
Jewelry.
Ooh.
Yeah. Uh, and purses
Mm.
because they never change size, you know. I love both those things very much.
Mm. A particular type of jewelry? Are you more of an earrings person, necklace,
Well, I never
all
wear
types?
bracelets because I use my hands all the
Yeah.
time and they just annoy me. So I'm a necklace and earrings kind of person.
Okay. What is the craziest thing that you have bought off of the internet or as part of an as seen on TV ad?
Ooh. Oh, I bought some of those shoes with the toes, those hikes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I love them. That was an impulse buy that really paid off. They're so ugly, but gosh, they're comfortable.
As long as they're comfy, right? You know?
Yes. Yeah, because if you're going to be walking at a big convention, you just need your feet to be happy with you.
Oh gosh, yes. I just got back from another con and was just standing all day on bare concrete.
No,
And
oh, ooh,
yeah, it was
ooh.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not good. My first job was like that,
Mm.
standing all day on concrete in the dark.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm. What is something that will immediately take you out of a story, either one that you're reading or watching on TV?
A misused word.
Oh.
One I read recently used exasperate for exacerbate.
Oh.
And I thought, did you have an editor, honey? Because it was a pretty good story. But that just yanked me right out.
Mhm.
And I know when that comes into my books, I'm very, very unhappy. Uh, no matter how many people read it, it seems like there's always a mistake that creeps in.
Hmm. And something like that I find more distracting even than a misspelling.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hmm. Because again, for a misspelling, I know what they meant, but it's like, oh no, this is the wrong word.
Yeah, don't you know
No.
the difference? There's a big difference there. Uh, I try not to be too snooty about it because gosh knows I've made plenty of mistakes myself. But something like that really just takes you right out of the flow.
What is your most dog-eared book? The one that you go back to over and over again, either for research or for pleasure.
Okay, I'd have to say Jane Eyre by
Oh.
Charlotte Bronte, because that book has every element of romance. I mean, it was like the birthplace of romance. It's got the mad wife in the attic. It's got the handsome, brooding employer. It's got the humble but resolute employee with the bad childhood. It's got everything. Lately, my go-to book has been written and read by Ann Bishop
Mm.
because it is honestly it's such a great book, and I read that. I've read that several times, and also Daniel O'Malley's The Rook because I'm just so in awe of the scope of his imagination.
Hey, this one I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sorry. Who belongs on the Mount Rushmore of writing for you?
Okay, Jane Austen. Um, mm, Kate Atkinson.
Mm, okay.
She is an amazing writer. I learn something every time I read her books. And I was glad to hear one of your listeners brought her up earlier because she can write
Mhm.
anything. Who else? Alona Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
I
And they
love.
only get one spot.
Yeah,
They
I
only
know
count
they
as
have to
one.
pair
Sorry.
it. They can have half a face each, but I think everything they write is just entertaining as hell. I'm always engaged in their books. And there are not that many people I can say that about.
Okay, kind of give me one more then.
Oh, you drive a hard bargain. Let's see. Um, there's so many people I could name. It's hard to pick one. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'd have to say Daniel O'Malley. I like all his books.
Well, and going to these different cons, are there still writers that you encounter that you get giddy about meeting in person for the first
Oh,
time?
heck yes. Diana Gabaldon. I met her, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, I love your books." And I thought, "You're my friend for life. Thank you. Thank you." That made me so happy. Yeah. And John Connolly, uh, just so many great people. And um, it tickles me pink to meet Walter Mosley. He has a presence you wouldn't believe. And Laurie King. I just love Laurie King. Maybe when I grow up, I can be like Laurie.
Okay, Charlene, one more and one of the most important questions is where is the best place for our readers and listeners to stay up with your latest news and find out what's going on?
Well, I have a website, and I publish a book and blog very irregularly. So I'm always recommending books I have enjoyed. Some of them I've enjoyed tremendously. Some of them were fun, but I never talk about a book I did not like because why? You know, that's when I publish one, it's on my website, and my website person usually puts it on my author dashboard. I have a professional Facebook page. I respond to messages on that. So there are many ways to get in touch with me if you really want to, and I'll probably answer you myself.
Great. Well, readers, listeners, with over 39 million copies of her books sold worldwide and multiple series, you have a plethora of different books that you can go and choose from if you have, by some miracle, have never read one of Charlaine Harris's books. And her latest one, The Last Wizard's Ball, is available now, and it wraps up her Gunnie Rose series. So take it from me, Samantha, you got to go out, and there's so many different ones you can read. Charlaine, thanks again for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it tremendously.